Stop. Before you continue, notice this. You didn't decide to click this video. Your brain made that decision before you were aware of it. And the fact that you're still here means something already reacted. You just haven't caught up yet. Right now, you feel like you're choosing to listen, but you're not. If you were, you would have left already. Something small happened, so small you didn't register it consciously. A micro pause, a hesitation, a break in expectation. That's when your brain leaned forward. You didn't notice it, but your nervous system did, and once it reacts, it doesn't like to be ignored. Think about the moment you clicked this video. You weren't searching, you weren't curious, you were scrolling until something felt different, not interesting, not exciting, just wrong enough to stop your thumb. That wasn't attention, that was recognition. Your brain recognized a pattern before it understood it. That's why you can't explain why you're still here. You don't have a reason, and that makes your mind uncomfortable, because the mind hates not knowing why it acted. So it stays, not to enjoy, but to resolve. Your brain doesn't wait for meaning, it predicts first. Every second it guesses what comes next. When reality matches the prediction, you feel nothing. Everything feels normal. But when it doesn't, you feel it. That tension in your chest, that pause in your breathing. That wasn't emotion, it was error detection. Your brain realized something didn't align, and it pulled your attention before you could stop it. That's why moments like this feel unsettling, because your awareness arrived late. Your body already reacted. Your mind is just trying to catch up. Have you ever entered a place where nothing was wrong, but your body wanted to leave immediately? No danger, no sound, no reason, and yet you didn't stay. You didn't decide to leave. Your nervous system did. The same thing is happening right now. Your brain noticed something before this sentence finished. That's why you're still listening, not because you understand, but because your brain doesn't like unresolved prediction errors. It wants closure. There is a stage of processing that happens before awareness, before thoughts, before emotion, before language. Patterns are compared, signals are evaluated, and only afterward, your mind invents a reason. You don't react because you understand. You understand because you already reacted. This is where it becomes dangerous, because once you know this, you start seeing it everywhere. In videos, in people, in persuasion. Some content doesn't convince you. It bypasses you and reaches the part of you that reacts before permission. If you felt this before, you're not imagining it. And if you haven't noticed it yet, that doesn't mean it isn't happening. It just means you weren't aware. The question I'll leave you with is this. Are you someone who notices the reaction first, or someone who only realizes after it's already decided? You think your brain is careful, that it waits, that it checks, that it verifies. It doesn't. It trusts first. Before logic, before awareness, before you. Every second your brain makes a guess about what is safe, what is familiar, and what can be ignored. Most of the time those guesses are wrong, but they're fast. And speed feels like certainty. That's why you trust things that later make no sense. Not because you're careless, but because your brain rewards speed more than accuracy. Right now, your brain is doing the same thing. It feels like this is controlled, predictable, safe to follow. That feeling is not understanding, it's trust. And trust happens before permission. Think about how many times you've been sure about something, only to realize later you never actually chose it. You followed a signal, a tone, a rhythm, a pattern, something that felt familiar before you knew why. Your brain doesn't ask, "Is this true?" It asks, "Have I seen this before?" And if the answer feels close enough, it relaxes. That relaxation is dangerous. Because once your brain relaxes, it stops questioning. That's when influence happens, not through persuasion, through familiarity. That's why repetition works. That's why framing works. That's why some ideas feel right even when they're wrong. They don't convince you, they settle you. Right now, something in this video feels settled. Not exciting, not intense, just aligned. That alignment is your brain deciding this path is safe to continue. But safety doesn't mean truth. It just means nothing has challenged the prediction yet. The moment that happens, you'll feel it. A pause, a discomfort, a need to reassess. That's not doubt, that's awareness waking up. And when it does, it realizes something unsettling. You trusted first, and only afterward did you start looking for reasons. There's a moment that always comes too late. It's not when something happens, it's when you realize it already did. That delay between reaction and awareness is where most decisions are made. Not consciously, automatically. Your body reacts, your brain aligns, and only then your mind shows up to explain it. That's why certainty feels sudden. You don't build it, you arrive to it. Think about how often you've said, "I don't know why, but this feels right." That feeling isn't intuition, it's completion. Your brain finished the process before you noticed it started. Right now, that same delay is happening. You're listening, not to learn something new, but to catch up with something already decided. That's uncomfortable, because it means control is not where you thought it was. It was never at the front, it was always behind. Awareness doesn't lead, it follows. This is why influence works even when you resist it. Why patterns guide you even when you believe you're choosing. Why the strongest signals don't shout. They arrive quietly, feel familiar, and wait. By the time you question them, they're already in place. Now here's the part most people miss. Once you notice this delay, you can't unsee it. You start recognizing the pause before the thought, the comfort before the reason, the decision before the explanation. And that changes how everything feels. Videos, conversations, your own reactions. You realize you're not late once, you're late constantly. And awareness is always trying to catch up. The question is no longer whether this happens, it already does. The only question left is this: when something feels right to you, will you ask why it feels right? Or will you realize that question itself came too late? After this ends, nothing dramatic will happen. No sudden realization, no clear answer. That's the point, because awareness doesn't arrive as a moment. It arrives as a residue, a faint delay you start noticing between feeling and explaining. Later today, you'll pause for no obvious reason. A choice will feel obvious before you know why. You won't remember this video then, but something in you will hesitate. That hesitation is not doubt, it's awareness checking the gap. You might notice it while scrolling, or agreeing, or reacting faster than you meant to. And for a brief second, you'll feel the distance between reaction and reason. That distance was always there. You're just aware of it now. Most people rush to fill that gap, with certainty, with stories, with explanations. You don't have to. You can let it stay open, because the moment you allow it, something changes. You stop chasing reasons. You start observing timing. Not what you think, but when you think it. Not what you choose, but how quickly it felt chosen. That's where clarity lives, not in answers, in noticing what arrives first. If this made you uncomfortable, that's normal. Comfort closes the gap. Discomfort lets you see it. And once you see it, you don't lose control. You gain position. You're not earlier, you're just less late. That's enough.